Alright guys, it's Just Stone here, back again with another video. So this one didn't go according to plan at all. Last night I spent about an hour trying to set everything up so I could record some gameplay footage and do a voiceover for it. But little did I know, I forgot to set up my microphone properly, so it only recorded a minute's worth of voiceovers, and I ended up sitting there talking to myself for about 20 minutes playing the game before I noticed something was wrong. So I decided to go for a different approach. What I've done, I've sort of put together like a few thoughts of my first few plays of this and done it. It's sort of like a mini review, but not exploring every avenue of the game, if that sort of makes sense. Hopefully it's going to work. In my head I've got a good idea how it's going to work, so hopefully it does. Anyway, please like, share, subscribe, leave your comments below, tell me what you think of the game so far, let me know what you think of my thoughts, maybe you can give me some tips on how to play the game better and have more fun with it. So anyway guys, without any further ado, here are my first thoughts on my first few playthroughs of WWE 2K19. In my opinion, the graphics and presentation seem to have been a big factor for the game and developers since WWE 2K15. When images of the graphics of this game first appeared for the PS4 and Xbox One, I was amazed. However, when the game was finally released, it was missing so many expected features, especially the story creator at the time. The graphics in this game have been criticised a bit, and you can definitely spot a difference from the last entry in the series. Having said that, I think they do look good and quite polished in their own right. Watching a match in the ring certainly looks different, but something about it all appeals to me. With all of that being said, is this game all just about presentation rather than the game itself? It's been pointed out many times that the gameplay has been greatly sped up. When I watched footage of the game before its release, I couldn't really spot it. However, once you actually play the game, you can easily tell that it's different from last year's game. Some have said that this helps speed up matches and allows the game to flow better. Whilst I agree with this, I've found that windows for reversals is much more difficult, and where I could easily master the reversal system in the last games, I found myself greatly struggling in this one. There's been quite a few times where I've dominated matches and then my opponent got one move on me, and then I found that I couldn't get back into the match, and eventually ended up losing when the opponent just hit a few moves, the finisher, and then got the victory. On top of that, I've found that kicking out of pins is much more difficult. Some might say that this adds a challenge to the game. Whilst I agree with this, I think that for the casual gamer, getting used to reversals and pin kickouts will take a lot of practice and may disillusion them. The AI of the game certainly seems to be somewhat more intelligent. More often than not, I found my opponent going for the pin when they've only had a quick period of offense, which I suppose reflects what we actually see on TV. I found that even on the easy difficulty, the computer opponent goes for attacks when you least expect it, rather than just standing there waiting for you to attack. One of the biggest positive points that people have pointed out for this game are the small details. While this game doesn't make great leaps and bounds to go forward with new features, it does do quite well on improving some of the more minor details that have existed in previous games. One big improvement are the cage and Hell in a Cell matches. Whilst I've only played one cage match, that's between AJ Styles and Elias, and this was a very short match itself, the mini-game of ascending and climbing out of the cage is one that has been greatly improved and adds more realism and challenge to the game. Now you have to press different buttons when prompted to ascend and then descend the cage, giving your opponent a chance to climb up after you and pull you back into the cage. In the match I recorded, I was trying to perform a diving move from the top of the cage, but I got all confused and ended up just climbing out the cage. What a plonker. With more practice and knowledge of the controls though, I'm sure people can have a lot more fun with these types of matches, and hopefully I can too. Since there's no more story-driven career mode with the wrestlers already in the game, and by that I mean about the career modes from the likes of the old SmackDown games, I'm a bit of a fan of the WWE Universe mode. This will have to do since there's no more story creator mode, and I frickin' loved that mode. I would spend hours just creating stories and then enjoyed playing them all the way through. It seems that there's been some small improvements in that you can now assign wrestlers to championships you want them to challenge for, and I think they can only be assigned to one at a time. so for some that can be a bit of an annoyance, but I suppose that does make sense. You can just manually change these anytime you want anyway. You can also set the Money in the Bank holders and decide when they cash in. And you can also assign more than 4 championships to a major show. Now this is a big improvement for me because I was always a fan of having, back in the day, the Intercontinental European title and the WWF Championship. And in the past few games you couldn't do this, but now you can. So, however, it's important to note that the Money in the Bank does count as a championship slot. So if you have the men's Money in the Bank holder and the women's Money in the Bank holder on the same show, you'll only be able to have up to 4 actual championships on the show, because I think you can only have up to 6 championship slots at a time. Something that did disappoint me is the lack of music for the shows. For instance, the current Raw setup doesn't have any official Raw music, as far as I know, that they currently use on TV. SmackDown Live and the old SmackDown themes are still present, but the fact that the current Raw setup doesn't have its official music baffled me, especially considering, I guess, the WWE class Raw's the flagship show, you know, their baby and all that. But I guess at the end of the day it's probably down to do with licensing, and it's just a real shame really. Additionally, the music for the 3 recent WrestleManias are quite poor. They're just very generic, basic, nothing special about them, and it just would have been good to have some music that was a bit more upbeat or iconic. So for me, there's still plenty more to investigate. Unfortunately, I've only had very limited time to play the game at the moment, so I still need to investigate the My Career mode and possibly the Towers mode. Therefore, I won't give any thoughts on this at this time because it would probably be unfair. But I will say that if the difficulty of the My Career mode does automatically bump up itself to challenge the player, then I'm probably going to struggle, I reckon. And I wanted to possibly record and upload a series of that feature for you guys. What do you guys think? Do you think I should do that? Record as I play through My Career and upload it? Try and do voiceover, try and get it to all work for a change? Anyway, if this is the case, I'm dreading playing the Towers mode because I've heard that the difficulty on that is crazy sometimes. And if I'm struggling on like easy or medium right now, then good lord, how the hell am I going to fare in the bloody Towers mode? Overall, WWE 2K19 has been a game that somewhat frustrated me due to the fact that mastering the game is proving to be more difficult than anticipated, but it can be argued that it will add some longevity to the game, assuming that I will bloody master it someday. Some of the gameplay is still the same sort of clunky stuff we had in previous entries, but at this time it's a game I'm looking forward to playing more and more each day, so I guess it must be doing something right. With more and more features of customization, such as the side plates on championship belts and creating Money in the Bank briefcases, I'm looking forward to finally trying these out when I do have the time to get to it, especially in the Universe mode. My Career is definitely looking appealing, with your character now starting in the Indies and then working their way up to the WWE rather than already starting in NXT. So I'm looking forward to creating a character and getting started with that. Overall, I'd probably say that WWE 2K19 is quite a good game with some good features packed in, although as I said before, I still think the series should take some time off and reevaluate itself to bring everyone a fresh new game that can be truly groundbreaking. Anyway guys, that's going to do it for me for the moment. Those are my initial thoughts on like my first few plays of WWE 2K19. Please do like, share, subscribe and comment. Tell me what you think of the game so far. I'll be interested to see what other people think, those who aren't sort of plugging the game unnecessarily and like giving their opinion on the game truthfully. Anyway guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video, and like I said, I will upload the gameplay matches separately just so you can take a look at that, add some more content to the channel. So right, that's it now. Anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. All the best.